On this episode, we talk about the NXT Divas making their long-awaited Raw debut, plus we give our WWE Battleground predictions, discuss Stardust returning to Raw, Seth Rollins versus Lesnar, your questions, and more now on Byte That. Hey gang, what's going on? You're listening to episode 99 of Byte That, a weekly podcast where we sit down and we continue to have this conversation about the soap opera that is the WWE and maybe the rest of professional wrestling. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com, and of course, for the podcast, plus tons more, which we'll be talking about tonight. Head over to youtube.com/ByteThatCast. My name is Juan Velas. I am a wrestling fan. This is a wrestling fans podcast. That's why there's got to be two more people in the conversation. From Boston, Massachusetts, Ryan McNulty.
Juan, I can't believe 100 is just a week away. It's crazy to think that I've done like 97 of these. I've only missed 2 shows, so it's kind of surreal, but I'm excited for today's show. Another prediction show. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a good while. That whole lapse between Beast in the East and all these things is a little crazy. But another guy that's in the podcast from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Keith Poshik. Hi.
You know, never mind all that noise. Who's the Victor Newman of the WWE, Mr. Soap Opera?
I don't know. We may find out in this episode. And then I also need to find out who Victor Newman is, for that matter.
Yeah, so do I.
You've never seen The Young and the Restless?
Nope.
Oh.
No.
I wonder if that's a Canadian thing.
No, I know people will see it, but it's not a thing that I've taken some time to sit down and watch. But something we do watch.
I like my stories.
Segue going on there is, of course, WWE. There are some controversial things, some awesome things to talk about. Of course, if you listen to last week's podcast, this feels like a direct, I guess, segue or continuation or part 2 of it, if you will, because we dedicated a lot of time to the Divas situation. It's almost like they listened. Yeah, something happened because we complained a lot about the Divas, everything that's happening. So we had the Bella Twins, Alicia Fox coming out there. They keep doing their weekly thing. Stephanie McMahon comes out, and right then and there, I know what's about to happen. I think the world knew. We just didn't know to what extent. So just to summarize, we now have not just Charlotte, not just Becky Lynch, but Sasha Banks is also in the main roster apparently. And not just that, they have split them into 3 separate groups. So it is Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina. There is the Bellas with Alicia Fox, and then there is Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. Guys, what do you think of this groundbreaking, never-before-seen thing with the Divas division?
I guess it's always darkest just before dawn, and this is kind of like a just total reinvention of the Divas division, we hope, and it's pretty awesome. The only little thing before we get to all the positive stuff, I just want to address the one negative thing, and that's just kind of how, like, Stephanie McMahon is kind of the one to introduce it. It's like, I know it kind of makes sense that she wants to, do this whole women power movement or whatever, but, she's like the heel of heels.
Well, hold on. I'm going to call you out on that one, because that's not entirely out of Stephanie McMahon's thing. Like, yeah, okay, her and Triple H are the bad people. But they've always kind of had this silver lining as the authority where they do, quote, what's best for business. And this was just one of those things, at least that's what it felt like to me. Like, yeah, okay, she plays the bad person, but this is one of those good decisions.
Well, it's like she's doing something against the Bellas when it's like they're supposed to be on her side. I don't know. I mean, it's the plot convenience thing that the authority has in the past kind of just flipped on a dime, but maybe we should just talk about the positives anyway.
Well, the one quick thing I want to say about that is that we've seen so many reports that the USA Network likes to have Stephanie McMahon in a segment. You put her on a Divas segment, gets a spotlight on, 3 brand new Divas that many people haven't heard of. So I guess maybe that's the best way to justify the fact that they're in there. But yeah, so we have 3 teams. This is totally not what I think anybody expected. We just assumed that it would be, just 2 more people going in there. because first it looks like it's obviously just two factions, but then Naomi and Tamina came out, and that seemed really random. And that's how they introduced Sasha Banks, which for me, not to go all negative Nancy about this, but it felt Sasha Banks was shoehorned with the two divas that are shoehorned into the Divas division.
But it made much more sense. I mean, if you're going to bring up Sasha Banks, it kind of makes sense. Her attitude and philosophy is more in line with Naomi and Tamina than any of the other divas. And it's better to have her be in that team than to be like on Charlotte and Paige's team, where it's like it wouldn't even make, they're trying to keep some of the NXT kayfabe alive too. So I kind of like that, if they're bringing Sasha up, she's at least kind of on like a heel type of team. So, I mean, I was completely okay with it. Yeah, Naomi's already kind of taking Sasha's gimmick a little bit, but at least they're pairing like similar minds together.
Now, we've sort of brought up this topic in a Square Roundtable, which is factions and wrestling, this type of stuff. We have three teams. We don't know what it's going to be. They're like the Bad Divas or something like that is their official name. I'll confirm throughout this episode, the team of Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina. But Keith, in your case, knowing that we have factions or a divided division, not including the other divas that weren't involved in the segment, by the way. So this could continue to grow up until SummerSlam, possibly. Does this get you excited for everything that we've previously complained about, and now it's gone or changed?
Changing? Yeah. I kind of got to say yes or no and no to this, because yes, it's new, it's exciting. At face value, this is very cool. But I think we're jumping the gun a little bit as far as, is this going to be revolutionary? Is this going to be a long-term success? Like, remember a couple months ago when all the divas were saying, like, yeah, if you're on NXT, you should want to stay there because it's not very good up here. So not everything's going to change in 1 week, right? We're not going to be able to see in like till a couple months from now if anything's going to actually change, or is this going to be almost kind of like a TNA thing where it gets real exciting for a little bit and then just everything goes back to normal. So I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with like, oh my God, it's all going to change. But it is very exciting at a weekly face value thing.
Well, Stephanie McMahon pretty much mentioned like revolutionary, all these different things to I guess sort of bring that importance. So
in WWE's never used hyperbole like that before and been, backed it up totally.
Exactly.
But Ryan, at least for you, when we say now, we have this roster that we can't technically complain about because here are the NXT divas that we love to watch on the show. Now they're on Raw. They have more spotlight. And when you say revolutionize the Divas division,
well,
like what?
I mean, less TV time, but more eyes watching.
Exactly, but
like it's only been a week. Can you really say that?
But realistically,
everything changes.
Realistically,
Keith,
though,
everything.
What
I guess.
What is different? Like, are we just going to see quote unquote 5-star matches? Like, how do you see that change just happen?
Well, all right. I'm thinking strictly in terms of like this specific storyline with these groups. Like, let's just take it one step at a time. Let's not think, they could easily only one of these divas could end up staying long term on the main roster for all we know. This could be a one-off storyline thing. Who knows? For now, it looks like it's weird they kind of did this on the go home show to Battleground because I don't even know if they're going to have a match until like SummerSlam maybe. Because I don't think anything's been announced for Battleground as far as we know as of this recording. But what I see and kind of hope to see is that whether this is going to be some sort of 3-way tag match or whatever, is that I want these kind of factions to stay for a little while. I want there to be like 3 groups in the Divas division, and it's sort of like everyone kind of picks their side. I think it would actually be really cool if they kind of like, everyone kind of had their own allegiance to a different group, and it got you excited about like this team versus that team and that team versus this team. And it's kind of like you just do sort of the Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys in the Divas division, but like on steroids.
And not to add on to that, not only pick their sides, but stay on those sides. Like, you could easily see it being something along the lines of, oh, Alicia Fox is with the Bellas this week. Oh, hey, now she wants to be a mean girl and she's going to jump over there. So hopefully it's like a long-term consistent thing, like you said.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've always thought of this sort of storyline idea. I mean, not that it's super original, but I thought it would always be cool if you had, you know, multiple teams and people, you allowed the audience to choose their side. You have a t-shirt for everyone. So, you know, it's the same thing as the stupid Twilight team, Jacob team, whatever.
So you're
pasty
saying,
white
okay,
guy,
so
whatever his name was.
You've got this new world order, right? And then there's the black and white
And
one.
there's a Latino
and then
world
on
order?
the other side of the roster, they've got a red one that really likes wolves. And then out of nowhere, this one that really represents their Latin heritage comes along and creates the Latino world order. Something like that, where they all have
They should
T-shirts and
do
merchandise.
something like that.
You know, I kind of like the Twilight reference better.
Oh, by the way, the team name is Team Bad. Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha,
Very
aka
original.
Best at Dominating. All right.
All right, well, at least it's got an acronym. I'll give it
Yeah,
that.
so at least it's something there. The last thing I want to say about this...
And the jokes write themselves.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to bring up is that maybe this is the way to break the barrier that we complain so much about. Who's face, who's heel? It is different teams. They do what they do to get wins and losses, and you support whichever one you want because they have their allegiance, as Ryan brought out. So I hope it's like that because that's how you make the Divas division different than from just having, hey, we'll have a 5-star
Game
match
of
too.
Thrones, but with Divas matches. Like, there's no good guys or bad guys in Game of Thrones, really.
Yeah,
Just-
every team has their own set of principles and ideals, and you align with everyone you see fit.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, it's time for our weekly Cesaro takes over Raw update, where once again he comes out, he steals the show, but this week was very different in the greatest way possible. We thought we were going to get another combination of the John Cena U.S. Open Challenge, but then we have Cesaro, Owens, and Rusev out there, and they proceed to have a triple threat match where the winner went to face John Cena. Now, that man turned out to be Rusev, but I want to ask you guys, what did you think about this? I thought it was an amazing match, and not just that, but we see Rusev involved in a different light again.
Definitely the best Raw in a while, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Like, this match
Agreed.
just kind of totally came out of nowhere, and they just tore the house down. Like, I was not expecting it to get the time that it got, or for it to be as intense as it got. These are matches that are about, like, the U.S. title being at stake, and I think that's just really awesome.
You can always tell a match is incredible when nobody looks bad at the end of it. Like, yes, there are winners, yes, there are losers, but nobody looks bad at the end of it. Like, Cesaro has lost 3 weeks in a row and has looked great for 3 weeks in a row.
But it feels like he's getting a push,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
No, and one combination that the Divas segment and this has is investment. The Divas segment, it had "This is awesome" chant with no action. That's just not a thing, you know.
The last people that did that were the Shield and the Wyatt family.
Yeah. Well, the Divas thing, it's like, even though part of it was like kind of a cluster, it was so awesome and different for the Divas that everyone just ate it up anyway. And like, I think, you know, yeah, I mean, it's tough to coordinate that many moving parts. And I think for that, they did a damn good job. But let's get back to the U.S. title stuff.
No, with that, what I want to bring up is that they seem to be trying a lot of different things on this Raw. I mean, who knows? Maybe the ratings will drop as much as I want to ignore that because that has a huge factor. But this match, Cesaro, Owens, and Rusev. Notice how there's no Randy Orton in this match. There's no John Cena. There's none of that 10-year-old wrestler in the company in this match. There are 3 guys that are hungry for an opportunity. And generally speaking, that seems to be more for us, like the more smarky, I guess you want to say, fans.
I think John Cena said it best while he was on commentary in this match, where it hasn't really been this strong in a very long time as far as like mid-card competitors go, like how great the undercard of the show is how there's just so many great talent, and with honestly so much more on the way. It's almost like we're entering a, quote, wrestling renaissance, where it's more about the wrestling and there's just great matches over and over.
The one thing about John Cena's commentary for me was that he's a little too objective sometimes. Like, he's kind of taking himself out of it and being like, he's kind of being like meta.
He pretends like he hasn't been a 15-time world heavyweight champion.
He talks
and stuff like
he's
that.
kind of talking like he's someone talking about the U.S. title division, not like the U.S. champion. Yeah, because he's like, these guys' opportunities and everything, where it's like he's not concerned with himself at all, which is weird in wrestling because everyone's so egocentric.
Well, that's how you also get to differentiate Cena. I like the Cena. We've talked about it in so many episodes. But overall, whatever this leads to, Cesaro seems to be getting a push. What kind of push? It's really hard to tell. It is not obvious at all. Like, are they going to like keep doing this where he loses and gets over? John Cena, what's going on? I don't know.
Well, if you're getting 20-minute matches at the end of Raw consistently, you're doing something right. So I hope that they have a plan for him. I think, the crowd's responded well to all of his matches. Everyone's buzzing about his matches for the past 3 weeks. So, and this one didn't have John Cena in it. So, I mean, it was something different than, the previous 2 weeks. So, I don't know. They got to have something in line for him, I hope.
Now, the next topic I want to bring up is something that not necessarily we've avoided bringing it up in the podcast, but it's Dusty Rhodes passing. The big question after that was, what's going to happen with Stardust? Is he going to go back as Cody Rhodes? And then this Raw we see out of nowhere, he comes in, has a match with Neville, and then went on to tease a feud with the Green Arrow on Twitter. So that may be a match on SummerSlam that's happening. But this is not the primary topic. It's not about the wrestler. It's not about future feuds. But about this whole situation. I just want to bring up this tweet that Cody has since then went private. He said, "Troubled seeing some people think I'd allow or be comfortable with the worst thing that's ever happened to me be exploited on TV for a return. We're not blind to all these people that are saying, this is how they should bring Cody back, a tribute to Dusty Rhodes." Yet ironically, a little controversial, when Rey Mysterio did that, people were going apecrap about it, but then so many fans wanted to see that. And then you see Cody Rhodes openly be upset about that situation. Bringing it to you guys, what's your take on the situation of personal and professional sort of combining?
After seeing Cody's tweet, it kind of hit me like he is 100% right. The WWE doesn't exactly have the best history of not being super exploitative about this. And quite frankly, it's very, very easy to get swept up in it as fans. But absolutely, if you want to keep your private life private, do it. And we as fans need to respect that. We do this a lot and we don't realize it. Every time an emotional heartstring gets tugged at, we jump on that bandwagon. Look at Adam Rose earlier this year with that whole E60 thing. Even though it's a little bit of a different situation, the meaning really is the same. And if Cody doesn't want to bring it up, then that should be that. Period.
Yeah, as wrestling fans, we're very used to few things being off limits. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's pretty much everything's been turned into a storyline, and I'm sure Cody's smart enough to know, WWE's history with handling deaths and how terrible it usually is. And I also think Cody is in a way kind of old school in that he sent another tweet that he wants, Dusty Rhodes said, always finish what you start. And, he's he's not just going to show up as Cody Rhodes. He was committed to that Stardust storyline. And I think he kind of wants to see that through on his own. And also kind of doing this heel character thing avoids trying to get the sympathy or anything like that, with the whole Mysterio and Chavo thing with Eddie, And
the other thing I want to bring up that just sort of sheds more light into just how negative this can go. Eden, which is Cody's wife, she's the current Raw ring announcer too, and just everywhere now in WWE. I'm just going to bring up the specific part of her blog. You can check it out. It's in all the wrestling news outlets, wrestling news sources where I'm reading it from right now. And she says, sometimes you have to take a stand and say something, like last night when my husband, after being away for grieving for a month, was yelled to as we were loading our car, and in quotes, "Come take a picture with us. We pay your bills." A fan wrote. A fan told them. It didn't get her a picture. It got her choice words from me because no one owns us. I like Garth Brooks. I've paid money to see him live, hear his music, but I would never dare say to Mr. Brooks, "Take a picture with me because I pay your bills." But hey, I'm not a complete idiot. Pride myself in that. But to say something like that to someone who's been through so much in the past month is crazy. I can't even believe that wrestling fans would stoop this low. And I'm sorry,
You
I
can't.
need to.
You
really
can't because really?
Have you tried?
No,
Yeah.
there's been really dark stuff happening out there, but so recently, and then just to say that knowing his father died, let's forget about Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Runnels, the entire family, that their father died, not the character, and people just. Oh, it's irritating.
Take all of that out of the equation, and that is still not right. The sense of entitlement some people have, I will never understand. Like, go back to CM Punk's podcast, where people would go up to him and say, "Hey, Phil, I bought your house. Take a picture with me." It just doesn't make any sense how people feel that and how people think it's okay to feel that. It's just not wrong. Everybody's a human being at the end of the day.
It's people. It's not wrestling
and people
fans.
wonder why I hate people.
Yeah, it's not wrestling fans. It's not, this fan or that fan. It's just some people. You can read the comments on plenty of things on the internet, and you'll see that there's a lot of really terrible people out there.
Sadly.
So, they're in everything, a part of every type of group and organization. You're always going to find people like that. And if you're someone who's in the public eye, you're going to run into some of those people who want to, get something from you and don't approach it in a respectful way. So it doesn't surprise me. It's just really sad that someone would be so insensitive so quickly.
And here's the situation. This is something you actually brought up, Keith, a couple of weeks ago, or I guess over a month when we discussed the Adam Rose thing. Hypothetically, say he comes back as Cody Rhodes and all those things. What then? What happens after the charity case situation comes to an end? Chavo Guerrero, he was Kerwin White.
That was exactly what I was about to tell you. Go take a look at Chavo Guerrero, and there's my answer.
Kerwin White had potential, man. I'm telling you.
No,
he should have
Kerwin
stuck
White
with it.
Had the greatest theme of the modern era.
It was so good that Michael Cole used it.
Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, to conclude, it sucks. It should not happen. But I'm looking forward to seeing Stardust continue. Do you guys want to see that happening still?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a storyline, like we said, like Cody, when they were doing the whole Rhodes family thing, like Cody was absolutely on fire. And then they just, they pulled the rug out from that storyline. And I feel like when Goldust is able to come back, that they should see that through to the end.
Agreed. And just even like without the whole Rhodes family, like when they give Cody time, he always delivers. It doesn't matter whether it's Dashing, Stardust, Cody Rhodes, no matter who he is. He's always been a consistent deliverer. So just let him do what Cody does, and I'm sure it'll end up fine.
Now, talking about the main event of Monday Night Raw. We had a contract signing, guys. They always go well. And at this point, I love how the announcers always point that out. Everybody's just in on the joke at this point, whenever there's a build-up to a contract situation segment. But it got a little extreme at the end there. So basically, Brock Lesnar proceeded to almost murder Kane by putting the steps over his ankle and breaking it. And I want to know how they really pulled that off, because I replayed that a couple of times.
You could see it
in the slow motion replay. I was just about to say they really shouldn't have done that slow motion replay, because it really
because you can kind of see like Brock let it go on an angle, right? So the angle of the steps hit right beside Kane's ankle.
Damn it. Like it looked like in normal speed, it looked amazing. But as soon as they did that one slow motion, I was like, oh,
okay.
You know, that's
the
how they
illusion
did
is
it.
ruined for me. I hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
No. But it was great.
Usually they're pretty good about those slow-mos, but they really messed up there.
So what do you guys think about this? Not so much Brock's thing, but Seth Rollins in this segment. Holy crap, what a change. This guy is just progressing each and every week. Had this real deep promo about how he's going to just annihilate Lesnar.
I think Seth Rollins' character has been handled perfectly throughout the entire thing, minus the whole blah, blah, blah at the beginning.
That's right.
Oh, during the middle of a promo, he got a little tongue-tied, and without moving the mic away
awesome.
from his face, he's like blah, 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 there. But that was incredible in its own way. But the story of Seth Rollins throughout this whole thing has just been told so well, how he's been slowly becoming more and more desperate throughout this entire thing with Brock Lesnar. Like, he was afraid, he thought he had an out. Now Brock Lesnar has completely annihilated that out, and now he's just like a man backed into a corner against Brock Lesnar. And I think it's been incredible, this entire thing.
Yeah, I've liked what they've done, and I like how, you know, J&J were basically taken out last week, and then Kane was taken out this week, so now it's just Rollins on his own. I just found, I don't know if it was the same as you guys, but it's like Lesnar was dominant, and then he just kind of walks away at the end. And then, like, Rollins kind of just, like, hops back in the ring and, like, cuts a promo. It felt to me like, one of those, you know, encore things after, like, the camera goes off. It was just weird because, like, it was like, you know,
Lesnar just come back?
You know, Lesnar gets his big shining moment, and then all of a sudden Rollins just comes out and just starts crapping on everyone. And you felt like, you know, is somebody gonna come out? Like, I felt, because there was rumors that there was gonna be a major angle, and obviously the NXT Diva thing, it was probably what that rumor was. But at the same time, because of that floating in my mind, I was like, is somebody like gonna come out and stop this? It's just, I feel like a show never ends this way.
I felt very similar to the way the Kevin Owens situation happened last week. We mentioned that he got into the ring, then Cesaro wanted to have this match, so then he left for no reason. And then with Brock, it was similar. I was having a tough time figuring out which type of Brock Lesnar were we having. We had, you know, babyface Brock Lesnar at the beginning, but then he was just the beast, but then he just left. So it was like, it was a little inconsistent. And yeah, when Rollins came out, you definitely felt the change. But I think that's almost being too nitpicky. I think, as you guys brought up, this was an amazing Raw for a go-home show compared to other ones where we feel, yeah, there are going to be great matches. We know that. But as a storyline, I'm not too invested. Right now with this Raw left me pumped as to, is Seth Rollins going to have a legitimate offense with Brock Lesnar? But we're going to take a break from that because we are going to be having our WWE Battleground predictions right here on the show after a couple of announcements. Because, guys, next week, episode 100 of the podcast, 100 episodes. That's three digits.
Triple
not
digits,
one, not two.
baby.
Crazy stuff happening right now. If you go over to
3 is enough.
Yeah.
Because God, who the hell knows when we're going to hit 5?
It's going to take a while. We may not even be alive by then, but let's hope we are. But if you go over to youtube.com/Byte That Cast right now, you can check out my full WWE SummerSlam 2008 review. I go match by match. But if you go to the channel next week, what have I told you? I'm talking to specifically you. Every day, there's going to be a new video on the channel, including weekend. This is going to be crazy, so I'll break it down. We can't have the DX music because of copyright, but just, you know, put it somewhere. Monday, part 1 of our Superstar Spotlight on Randy Orton. This is a brand new segment that we're doing similar to Square Roundtables. We talk about his entire career in 2-part videos. So on Monday, you get the first part. On Tuesday, you get the traditional podcast that you're listening to right now. On Wednesday, you're getting part 2 of the Randy Orton Superstar Spotlight. On Thursday, you're getting a Fight Night Season 2 trailer, which will include the official start date for Season 2 of Fight Night. On Friday, I know there's been a couple of people asking, there will be a Twitch stream happening next Friday, but usually, guys, that's it, right? That's when we sort of have, like, maybe one more video.
I mean, at this point, we're already working overtime, so why would we have more?
But we're going down west on people and giving you 2 more
Michael
videos.
Orton rookie cards.
We're going all out. On Saturday, we're bringing back the countdowns. We have our top 5 favorite WWE finishers. It's a video that we've been working on. We know you'll enjoy it. And then on Sunday, we're going to have yet another video. It's going to be a discussion video. 7 things, 7 days.
And if you call in the next 10 minutes...
you get a free... I don't know how.
I'll ask why you have my number, and that's about
Keith
it.
will contemplate liking people. Not going to happen, but yeah, all that stuff's going to be happening, so stay tuned to our social media. We're going to keep promoting all that good stuff. But now, it is time to get to our WWE Battleground predictions. A ton of matches happening, and we have a ton of questions too, so we'll sort of go lightning around on this. Starting first with the pre-show match, R-Truth versus King Barrett. Now this match is for the crown in what is the match I couldn't care less about. I don't even care about predicting this. So I'm just going to spit. Who wants to talk about this? I'm sorry.
You guys remember a few months ago when they announced the King of the Ring, how we were like, oh cool, they could bring that back, this prestigious event where it could really help somebody's career. Yeah, never mind that whole tournament. We'll just have a match for a crown about a couple months later. Great forward thinking. And like Juan, don't care, so I'm just going to go with Truth and flip the coin.
All right, I want Truth to win, but this is more like I can't believe this is still going. But I'm actually going to say King Barrett legitimately wins the match.
I'm just going to go with R-Truth because I don't care about Bad News Barrett, King Barrett, Wade Barrett anymore. Just too many opportunities that lead to nowhere. So now let's officially start our Battleground predictions. We'll go in the order of Keith, Ryan, and myself, starting first with Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. Starting it off hot, guys. Who's going to win?
This is a tough one. Haha, just kidding. It's going to be Roman Reigns. It's going to be the same thing over and over. Bray Wyatt's going to have a semi-decent feud and then just get completely squashed to Roman to build Roman.
Yeah, if SummerSlam wasn't the next pay-per-view coming up, I would say this feud has a good chance of going on beyond one pay-per-view. But because it isn't, Roman Reigns is going to win.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Roman Reigns will win this match. What will happen afterwards with Bray Wyatt? We'll probably have 10 to 15 more podcasts complaining about his character, so we will save it for one of those. Going on next, we have Randy Orton versus Sheamus.
So here's a fun fact for everybody out there in podcast land, courtesy of reddit.com/squared circle. Since 2009, Randy Orton and Sheamus have wrestled on a pay-per-view against each other 13 times. This will be number 14, I believe. So, how can you get excited?
Calendar year of WWE pay-per-views that have Randy Orton and Sheamus on it.
You could take the entire duration of all their matches and probably turn that into a pay-per-view.
Or a top 10 favorite Randy Orton versus Sheamus matches.
Yes, number 1.
Please, we have so many better topics to burn through before we get to that.
Okay, so who wins? Who wins the match?
I'm going to go with Sheamus on this one, just for the fact he has the money in the bank. And Randy Orton's not really doing too much lately, so maybe they're going to give Sheamus some momentum going into SummerSlam.
You know, I'm actually going to say Randy Orton wins this because they really like to crap on the guy with the briefcase. So I'm going to say Orton.
Yeah, I agree. Randy Orton, I think Sheamus will sort of go under the spotlight now that he does have the briefcase up until after SummerSlam. Maybe around Survivor Series is when we'll see him really pick up with bringing up the briefcase, because he's practically invisible right now with the briefcase. So that's going to be a thing.
Just because he's pale doesn't mean he's invisible.
I don't judge him by his skin. I judge him by his hair and then just so many other things that's wrong with his character. But I actually like Sheamus.
Sheamus is good right now.
People hate on Sheamus. Don't hate on Sheamus. Appreciate him. Now, going on to the next match. For the Tag Team Championships, we have the defending champions. It feels weird to say this. The Primetime Players taking on the New Day, and we don't know which combinations it's going to be.
And that's why it's glorious. I hope the power of positivity shines through once again, and the New Day regains their tag team titles.
I too am hoping that the New Day wins, and I think there's a good chance that they will. And it's cool if they do, they start trading the titles back and forth. For now, I select the New Day.
Yeah, SummerSlam's around the corner, and it seems odd for the New Day to win the titles at SummerSlam. So I definitely see them winning it now, and then maybe PTP or some kind of tag team turmoil happening at SummerSlam. So I'm going with the New Day. Now, triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Ryback, defends against number 1, The Big Show, number 2, The Miz.
I'm going to go with Ryback on this one because unless they throw a complete curveball, it doesn't really make any sense for The Big Show or The Miz to win the Intercontinental Championship. But yeah, just based on that, I'm going to go with Ryback. And this match is going to have a really cool spot. And mark my words.
Well, yeah, Keith actually gives me hope for this match because he felt it was much better than expected. So maybe it'll surprise us all. I'm also going to pick Ryback because it seems like they ain't doing nothing with the other two guys. So just keep it on Ryback.
I'm actually going to go with The Miz. John Cena has his lengthy championship run, and I think that the WWE won't want to have two of the similar titles just having long-term champions right now. And there's 3 guys involved in the feud, so I think they can take that hit of just taking the title off Ryback and then maybe winning it back at SummerSlam or something. But The Miz, he deserves to be champion again, so I'm going with The Miz. Now, John Cena defending the United States Championship against Kevin Owens.
If there's a person at this point who can take the US Championship off of John Cena, I think it's going to be Kevin Owens. That being said, I don't think this is going to be the end of their feud. I still think they got one match at SummerSlam, but I think Owens is going to win the US Championship in this match.
The whole involvement with Rusev and Cesaro kind of has me thinking that this is not going to be a clean finish if Owens does win. I actually think Cena is still going to retain, and there's going to be some funny business going on at the end.
See, I think it's going to lead to a fatal 4-way at SummerSlam between all 4 of those. I'm sorry,
I'm just kidding.
You're breaking the rule. Nah, it's okay, man. I am sort of going to go similarly with Ryan's answer, but say it's going to be John Cena wins by disqualification for everything that we just mentioned. How has every other match ended recently, and then we have this bigger pay-per-view happening in a couple of weeks? So it's going to be just so close. Kevin Owens is going to just get the 1-2 during a pop-up powerbomb, and then it's going to be interrupted, going to frustrate, everything bites him in the ass, and then we get a fatal 4-way match or something like that at SummerSlam. And now, time for the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Didn't forget a Divas match this time, right?
No, as far as I know...
That's actually interesting. I don't think there is an announced Divas match.
Yeah, up until this point, there's not a match. SmackDown is happening after we record. So, just for clarification, there may be a Divas match. This women's thing...
If there is, we'll post the prediction on Twitter.
Yeah, this women's division thing may extend to SmackDown, and then we'll get a match out of that. So if we do, yeah, we'll definitely give our predictions through social media. So that being said, Seth Rollins defends against Brock Lesnar.
This is tough. First of all, this is probably going to be an absolutely incredible match between the two of them. I don't think it's going to be like a squash match where Brock just destroys Rollins, but I think Brock is going to take the title off of Rollins and then lead to... I still believe that it's going to lead to something between Brock and Reigns as the SummerSlam main event. So I think Brock is going to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Battleground.
Yeah, this one is very tough, and I'm pretty excited for it because anytime you go into a WWE World Heavyweight title match and it can really go either way, it's awesome because like the stakes are just that much higher because it's not nearly as predictable as it usually is. I know I predicted in the past that it was probably going to be inevitable that it's a Lesnar and Reigns main event at SummerSlam, but that almost feels a little rushed if they were going to do that at this point. So something tells me that Seth Rollins is going to retain, and I just don't see them putting the title on Lesnar right now. Even though I've felt that in the past. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. So I say Rollins somehow finds a way to retain.
I legitimately don't know who's going to win this match for everything that you guys just brought up. If I had to pick, if there was a gun pointed to my head and I had to pick who's going to win the match, I'm going to have to say Seth Rollins. Because as much as it makes sense to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns happening at SummerSlam, it does seem rushed. It seems almost like something that should wait until Survivor Series, because there's actually some good stuff happening right now in WWE. They can hold off that big match, and then Roman Reigns can just sort of build himself back up. Sheamus can be involved somewhere. It gets a lot of stuff happening. So however it is, and I don't know, I can't even go into my whole speculation mode that I usually do, I'm going with Seth Rollins. So that has been it for our WWE Battleground predictions. Make sure to send us your predictions over on social media. Byte That Cast on Twitter, Facebook, Byte That Cast Wrestling, Amino Byte That. I'm also posting other cool stuff there. And if you're on YouTube, then, leave it in the comment section right below the video you're watching. So for a lot of other cool stuff happening right now, Keith, take it away with the questions.
Juan, that's right. And say you in listener land want to send us a question. There are many of ways that you can do that. You can send us a question on Twitter, twitter.com/ByteThatCast, YouTube, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. You can send us an email, bytethatcast@gmail.com. That's our email. Or you could send us something on Facebook at facebook.com/ByteThatCast. But enough about that. Let's get to the questions. Our first one comes from Roach McPoach. Hey, Roach. How are you? Good? Good. All right. Well, he asks, other than a wrestler, what job in the WWE would you guys take? Keep up the good work.
For me, it would probably be live TV producer. It is a role that I actually do aspire. So this is not a fantasy thing. So it will probably be that. I'm fascinated always with the live event structure. At every WWE show that I've gone to, and Keith can attest to this, I will pay attention to the match, but I will much more pay attention to everything else happening. The cameras, the way they cue everything up, the lighting, just everything about it is just absolutely fascinating to me. Plus, I have a production background, so I'm assuming I'm somewhat interested in production.
Let's see. If I could be so bold, I would enjoy being a part of the creative team, like the storytelling and all that. We have a ton of fun doing all the wacky crap in Fight Night, so I think I would enjoy coming up with storylines and maybe actually having character consistency and depth and things like that. Or if not that, I do have a background in marketing, so it would be cool to kind of be like a marketing ambassador or whatever. Working at, in Stamford. That's always been kind of like a semi dream of mine, is to kind of, do something over there. But, who knows? But something like that.
Yeah, I'm with Juan in my answer, where I would love to be a part of the production staff. I don't know if on the live TV, but maybe some of like the video package, vignette, going through the library and making those like cool videos and stuff. I think I'd be way more interested on that side. But yeah, that would be incredible. God, how great would it be if we could all do that? Maybe one day.
You never know.
But for now, thank you for the question, Mr. McPoach. Roach McPoach? Yes, McPoach. I said that right. On to the next one from Gary Gullible WWE on Twitter. And he says, hey, love the show, guys. Quick question about Kane. Why didn't he have a tan? He spent the last week in Hawaii. There were pics.
I can answer this. I can easily answer this one. As a fellow pasty white gentleman, I went to Puerto Rico this past December, if you guys didn't catch that podcast episode. And I wore a ton of sunblock because I will get sunburnt on a cloudy day, all right? So I wore an amazing amount of sunblock so that I did not get burnt. And when I came back, nobody even knew I went anywhere because I didn't have a tan at all because I had so much sunblock on. So there's your kayfabe answer for Kane, is that he just wore a lot of sunblock because he is a pale man.
Keith and I can't add anything else to this. It's completely logical.
Thanks for the question. Now, moving over to the email side of things, we got a question from Mr. Pro Wrestling Shoot. And he asks, do you think the reason why smart fans are more interested in the behind-the-scenes portion than what's going on screen is because what's going on screen isn't really worth watching? Or are fans just too smart to the business at this point? Because, the WWE releases all that inside news and really keeps us all informed.
We can easily go back to the Cody Rhodes thing. It's sort of the entitlement. Oh, because I think I can read something about you. I know more about you. Therefore, what's important to me is what the business sends. Everything happening behind the scenes. And we actually have an SRT coming up where we talk about that this Thursday, actually, where it's WWE then versus now. And one of the things that we bring up is that back in the day, as wrestling fans, we wouldn't overthink all this process of, oh, that was a great creative decision. We would just enjoy it. So I guess the best answer is watch that SRT coming up this Thursday right on the YouTube channel.
And just to add, it's I think because there's an element of mystery behind what goes on behind the scenes, even though more and more information gets leaked out. I think just because it has that mystique to it, people just always want to know more. And
Exactly.
That becomes more interesting than what's actually on TV.
I mean, look at us. We spend a good chunk of our week thinking about that product.
For 100 weeks now, almost.
Exactly. So we're going to want to know and consume as much as possible. So we're kind of our own worst enemy in that respect, because we do enjoy it when it's very new and very surprising.
Yeah, it's like trying
it's
to
all
watch,
about balance.
It's like trying to watch a magic show and then like you're learning about what all the tricks are.
As the magician's doing it, you're YouTubing and Googling what exactly he's doing to perform the trick.
So part of it kind of gets taken away.
Yeah. Man, magic shows just got really depressing.
Yeah, man, we should all go to one and just be sad now.
The Byte That Magic Hour. Coming soon, probably
We'll just
not.
all go see Magic Mike. That's a magic show, right?
Channing Tatum, man. Oh, what? Go on.
Hey, it's got Kevin Nash. It's wrestling related.
Okay, we got to watch it.
All right, Justify.
Do we have
No,
to watch it?
move on, Keith.
All right, final question of the show comes in from Mr. Ryan Ferguson, and he asks us, do you think there should be more tweener versus tweener or face versus face feuds? I think back to one of my favorite WrestleManias, WrestleMania 23, where the main events were Batista versus The Undertaker and John Cena versus Shawn Michaels for their respective titles, and he thought they were excellent. It's rare these days that where he feels torn between who he's going to cheer for. So, do you guys like those kind of feuds, or what's the dealie?
I think while it may seem like there's less of that, I do feel like the WWE is still more gray than black and white than they used to be, with kind of cheer who you want. I mean, every feud with John Cena is almost kind of one of those tweener versus tweener feuds. I mean, look at the Kevin Owens John Cena thing. It's like, yeah, Owens is a heel, but there's still a large part of the crowd that cheers for him. So I think it is still kind of like that.
It is kind of like that, but at the same time, like, I feel like the WWE has almost given up on the whole face versus heel style thing, because as the rise of the smart internet fan, in quotes, happened, it's just kind of became a you're going to cheer for whoever the heck you want to cheer for style thing. You care less about the good guys and the bad guys and more about your favorite guys. So it doesn't matter if they make those people despicable, they're still going to get cheered anyway. So they're moving more in that direction, and you can't really fault them for it.
Yeah, people like compelling characters. That's why, someone like Walter White or Vegeta or something are really liked. It's not because of their, morality. It's because they're interesting and fun to watch.
Exactly.
And if a match like that were to happen again, it wouldn't have the same effect, because back then, heels and faces were very much still defined. But I'm going back watching older pay-per-views, and it's really evident, which almost makes it easier to go back because you know who's who. But now one match can be very obvious face heel. The other one, like the Divas thing, it's cheer for who you want. The other match can be this is a guy you're supposed to cheer but boo, and then vice versa. So by the time you get to that match where it's face, you're a little bit confuzzled because it's more than confused.
To add to that and make it even more kind of gray, is I remember Steve Austin on his podcast once said he was trying to show Cesaro some like heel moves that he could do in the ring, and Cesaro was like, yeah, we can't do those. Like, those are not allowed. So they straight up don't even want heels to be like too heely with the stuff that they do in the ring. So it really is even more just kind of like, just pick the guy you like.
So yeah, thanks for the question. And thank you, everyone, for all the questions this week. We know we couldn't get to all of them, but we really do appreciate every single one and every single one of you. Isn't that right, Juan?
Yes, man. Thanks to everybody that sent in the questions. And yeah, the show, we're getting a lot of questions, so we may not always be able to get to them. But definitely check out the Screw Roundtables. That's what's great about having the YouTube channel and an ice cream truck going on behind me right now, is that you never know what to expect in life. We may talk about one of your questions as a unique video on the channel. We've done it before. Most of the Square Roundtables are legitimate questions that you guys send us, and we like them to the point where we just make it its own video. So if you wanted to know a little bit more about us, let's close it off with Mr. McNulty just soothing us with his beautiful voice. Ryan, just do it.
All right, man, let's do this. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another edition of Byte That. Episode 100 next week. We hope to see you guys there for that. Remember, of course, to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. As Juan said, we got a SRT coming up this Thursday, and it's WWE Then versus Now. We kind of talk about, what WWE was like as a kid, how you watched it then versus how we watch it now, kind of knowing more of the behind the scenes stuff. It actually was a really interesting conversation. Of course, this weekend there will be a discussion video by me on what? I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, so I'll let you guys know. Of course, you can check out our social media at Byte That Cast on Twitter. You can send an email to bytethatcast@gmail.com. Check out our Instagram, Byte That, and we're Byte That on Wrestling Amino, as well as, of course, Facebook and all that stuff. You can catch that all on bytethat.com. Alright, so remember, guys, episode 100 next week. We're going to have a video every single day next week, so get excited. We will see you guys then.